What is good, 7th graders? We are looking at some practice where we are writing inequalities. Very similar to what we did when we were solving equations. Follow the same steps. The only thing is we have to make sure to include our inequality sign. And remember, if you multiply or divide by a negative number, it flips your inequality sign around. Okay? So we have 4 plus 2d is greater than or equal to 10. We need to get 2d by itself, so we're going to eliminate anything that doesn't have a d in it first, which would be the 4. Do the opposite of what we see. It's positive, so we're going to subtract it. What we do to one side, we do to the other side, giving us 2d is greater than or equal to 6. This is 2 times d. Opposite of multiplication is division. We divide. What we do to one side, we do to the other side. And d is greater than or equal to 3. Greater than or equal to 3. Alright, now we have 2g plus 1 is less than 9. Get rid of the term that does not have a g, which would be the 1, so we'll subtract it. What we do to one side, we do to the other side. 9 minus 1 is 8, so we have 2g is less than 8. This is multiplication, so we'll undo it by dividing the 2 and doing that on the other side as well. G is less than 4. Alright, and then we have 3t plus 2 is less than 8. We want to get t by itself, subtract 2, 3t is less than 6. Let's erase that. 8 minus 2 is 6. Divide by the 3 to cancel that. T is less than 2. Alright, we have an inequality. We need to solve it, and then we need to graph it on this number line. So we want to get a by itself. We have 1 plus 4a is less than 9. Want to get rid of the term without an a, so get rid of that 1, do the opposite of what we see, subtract it, and subtract 1. 9 minus 1 is 8. To get rid of that 4, we divide it, because right now it's being multiplied. That means a is less than 2. So we're going to put a dot at a, and since it's less than, it has to be an open circle. So if you click it once, it's a closed circle, touch it again, it's an open circle. And then we want numbers less than, so we need an arrow to the left. So just click on the very end of the number line, and it gives you an arrow going to the left. Alright, again, we'll solve this, and then we'll graph it. Subtract 1, opposite of what we see, do the same thing on the other side. To get rid of that 3, we divide. So f is greater than 2. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So again, we need an open circle on 2. And we want numbers that are bigger than 2, so an arrow to the right. We have our solution. Okay, let's do another one. 4s plus 1 is less than or equal to 9. Want to get s by itself, opposite of what we see, subtract the 1. Do the same thing on the other side. Get rid of that 4, we divide. S is less than or equal to 2. Now it's less than or equal to, we need a closed circle. So make sure it's closed before you go on. We want numbers less than or equal to 2, so numbers going to the left. And that's our solution. Good. Alright, basically the same thing on this link that we just did on the previous one, but we need to watch our signs again. And our answers are going to be a little bit more complex than just whole numbers. We're going to get some fractions and things like that. So we have 10x is less than negative 3. So we want to get rid of that 10. It's being multiplied by the x. We do the opposite of that, which is dividing. Divide the other side by 10. We get x is less than or equal to negative 3/10. Alrighty, we have 5x is greater than or equal to negative 33. We want to get rid of that 5. It's being multiplied, so we'll do the opposite of that, which is dividing. X is greater than or equal to negative 33 over 5. And 48x is greater than or equal to 6. Want to get rid of that 48 to get the x by itself by dividing. And then x is greater than or equal to 6 over 48. Now 6 actually goes into 48 8 times, so that turns into 1/8. Same process, but the inequalities are getting a little bit more complex, few more steps. So 9x minus 2 is greater than 34. Again, we're going to get x by itself, do the opposite of what we see. We're going to add the 2. What we do to one side, we do to the other side. And we'll get rid of that 9. It's being multiplied, so we do the opposite of that, which is dividing. And we get x is greater than 36 divided by 9 is 4. So x is greater than 4. Okay, 7x minus 10 is greater than or equal to 16. Again, we want to get the x by itself. We have to get rid of this 10. Do the opposite of what we see. Add 10. Do it to the other side as well. And then get rid of that 7 by dividing. Divide by 7, divide by 7. X is greater than or equal to 26 over 7. 7 is prime, so there's nothing that goes into 26 and 7. We can't reduce that at all. On this one, we need to solve it and then pick which graph is going to give us the correct answer. So we have less than or equal to, I'll write this, 11q plus 5 is less than or equal to 49. It's going to be less than or equal to, so we already know it's a closed circle. So we know it's got to be one of the first two. The last two are already out. So we'll solve it to figure out which one. Subtract the 5, we want to get rid of that. Then we have 11q is less than or equal to 44. 49 minus 5 is 44. To get rid of that 11, we're going to divide by 11 on each side. Q is less than or equal to 4. So we need a dot at 4, and we want numbers that are less than or equal to 4, so we need the arrow to the left. So it's going to be the second one. Alright, this link is the most difficult one of them all. It's one where we have to write the inequalities from the word problems again. Okay, those are challenging, but it's really good practice, and it's going to make algebra easier later on. Okay, so from the context, we have to figure out how to write these. Now, remember, I always like to start with the total and then figure out what makes up that total, because once we have the total, we at least have a direction to go in. Okay, so it says Tatiana wants to give friendship bracelets to her 32 classmates. She already has 5 bracelets, and she can buy more bracelets in packages of 4. Okay, write the inequality, and then we need to solve the inequality. So our total is going to be 32. Okay, she wants to give bracelets to her 32 classmates. So she wants 32 bracelets total. So I'll start with that on the right side. Then we want to think, could she have more than 32 or less than 32? Could she have equal to 32? Okay. She has 32 classmates, so she could have more, but she also could have exactly 32. So whatever makes up our total over here could be greater than or equal to 32, because all she needs is 32. She already has 5, So that's going to be part of what makes up our total of 32. And she can buy more bracelets in packages of 4. Okay, so here's a key word, of, which means to multiply. And what we're multiplying by is the number of packages. So it's packages times 4. Well, we don't know how many packages, but our problem tells us let there be P number of packages. So it's a variable. So we're going to multiply 4 times our variable P. So it's going to be 4P. And then what do we do with those two things to get the total? We're going to add those together to get at least 32 bracelets. Okay? So 4 times the number of packages plus 5, all of that makes up our total. Okay, now we need to solve that. So we want to get P by itself, get rid of anything that doesn't have a P. So we subtract 5, do the same thing on the other side. 4P is greater than or equal to 27. And then divide by 4. Do the same thing on the other side. P is greater than or equal to, it's going to be 6 point something, maybe. Okay, but you can't buy 3/4 of a package. So since she needs more than 6, we're going to have to round all the way up to 7. Okay? So she would need 7 or more packages. So P is greater than or equal to 7. Okay, Joey Chestnut is trying to break his own world record for eating the most hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes. He needs to eat more than 72 hot dogs. Okay, there's a key word right there. More than 72 hot dogs to break his record. After 1 minute of competition, he's eaten 10 hot dogs. Okay, after 1 minute, he has 10 hot dogs. Joey wants to know the number of hot dogs per minute he needs to eat for the next 9 minutes to break his own record. Okay? Let D represent the number of hot dogs he eats per minute. Write an inequality to determine the number of hot dogs Joey must eat for the last 9 minutes to break his record. Okay, so we need a total of 72 hot dogs. Actually, he needs to eat more than 72 hot dogs. Okay? So that tells us it can't be greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. It has to be greater than 72. So on the left, or on the right, we'll put 72. And what makes up that 72 has to be greater than 72. Because he has to eat more than 72 hot dogs. Okay, what's going to make up that total is going to be the 10 hot dogs he already ate. And then however many hot dogs he eats per minute for the next 9 minutes. We don't know how many he's going to eat per minute, but however many he eats per minute, we need to multiply by 9 because he has 9 minutes left. 10 minutes total, 1 minute's gone. He has 9 minutes left to eat hot dogs. So however many per minute times 9 plus the 10 he already ate has to be greater than 72 in order to break his record. Okay, a lot of information there. You really have to think through carefully on how to set that up. Think about it. Don't just try to think of what we've done in the past. Try to think logically what is going to make up his total 72 hot dogs. Okay, in this case. All right, then we solve it. So when you get D by itself, do the opposite of what you see. Subtract 10, do the same thing on the other side. So we have 9D is greater than 62. Divide by 9, divide by 9. D is greater than 62 divided by 9. Okay, but he can't just eat 89 hundredths of a hot dog. He'd have to eat the whole next hot dog So D is greater than 7. All right, Tom is the deli manager at a grocery store. He needs to schedule employees to staff the deli department at least 260 person hours per week. Okay, at least is a key word. At least is telling us that it's going to be more or equal to. All right, Tom has one part-time employee who works 20 hours per week. Each full-time employee works 40 hours a week. Write an inequality. To determine N, the number of full-time employees Tom must schedule so his employees will work at least 260 person hours per week. Okay, so our total, from the context, he needs 260 hours total. He needs at least that many. So whatever makes up that total over here, it could be more and it could be equal to. So he needs at least that much, it just can't be less. So what makes that up is he has one part-time employee who works 20 hours, and then each full-time works 40. We need to figure out how many full-time he needs to get his 260. So we have the 20 from the part-time person, and then in addition to that, we're going to have 40 for each full-time person. So the number of full-time people times 40 hours plus the 20 has to be greater than or equal to 260. All right, so that's our inequality. Now we need to solve that. Get rid of the 20 to get N by itself. So 240 is greater than or equal to 40 N. Divide by 40. Divide by 40. This one does turn out nice. N is greater than or equal to 6. Okay, so since it's greater than or equal, we know we need a closed circle, and we want numbers bigger than 6, so that would be an arrow to the right, where numbers are bigger than 6. So if we look at our possibilities, the last two have open circles, so they're out. First two are closed. We need numbers bigger than 6, which is the first one. This is numbers smaller than 6. We want bigger, so the first. Okay, that's all for practice. I know that last link is going to be pretty challenging once again, but keep working at it, and we'll help each other out, work together as a team. All right, have fun, guys.